Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this very well might be a first for the channel. This, for only thankfully about the first 2.5 minutes, it's up until the point the fight starts, is being recorded in post-commentary. That's right, one of the issues, for those of you that are not, you haven't done a post-commentary video before, or you're not a Let's Player, one of the issues with post-commentary is sometimes stuff doesn't sync up correctly. And the more you try to fix it, like, you can try to salvage it, but sometimes it's just beyond saving. But because the audio recording that I had was split up, because I know I was splitting that initially, I was able to keep the second half of it and just, like, re-record this first 2.5 minutes. So, right now you're getting a pretty decent view of the map. As you can see, the majority of what we're dealing with here is Wyvern Riders. There's a lot of them. They will come from just above where you start in that little area, just to the left of the houses as well, so the top left corner of the map. There will be reinforcements there later on. It'll be like near the end of the map. Looking at the other end of the map, over here where my cursor's pointed, you'll see some knight reinforcements, so the armored units. This guy up here has the ranged wind magic blizzard. He's the only one like that on the board. Here I'm showing off the boss. This is General Shirahim, a level 10 Wyvern Lord who has got a tomahawk for his weapon. This is a A-level throwing axe. So it is very powerful, and it can hit you from a range. He does have full guard as well, so this will stop any bonus damage against bow and arrows, anything like that. As a Wyvern Lord, as you would come to expect, has very high defense and strength. He's got the luck of myself and Sir Proton John combined, with a terrible luck stat of 1. Aside from that, all of his stats are about what you'd expect. His speed's a little bit low, and his resistance is a little bit higher than what I would expect. But yeah, primarily what you're looking for here is defense and strength. So you want to pretty much send a unit that will be able to counter that and not take too much damage. In addition to that, really the only other advice I could give is I will be sending, and I believe I mentioned this in the current comments, I will be sending, or the current commentary you're going to hear in a second, I'll be sending Oscar and Astrid and Mist up north to deal with all the units and the reinforcements. Everybody else will be taking the lower path in order to get to Shirahim. The goal for this stage is arriving with any character within 15 turns. If you're going at this pretty quickly, you should be able to get the entire map done in 7 to 8 turns, so about half that time. The clear goal of giving you 15 turns is not bad at all. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so depending on whether or not you brought Jill into this fight or not, you're going to be getting one of two conversations. Sorry about that little pause right there. I was making sure that the Audacity minimized but was still recording. So if you choose to bring Jill into this fight, Ike will actually speak with her and say that he knows for a fact that we are fighting Jill's father. If you're having second thoughts, it's not too late. Do you want me to switch you out with somebody else? No, I'll be fine. At least I think I will. You don't have to be in the Vanguard, just keep that in mind. If you choose not to bring Jill into this fight, she will fly up next to Ike, and they'll have a discussion about if you can spare my father, you know, try to, and Ike will say, I'll do my best to convince him otherwise, but I will make no promises, and she says, you know, I understand, etc., flies off. Usually I don't ever see that one, because I think the only time I did not use Jill was the very first playthrough I had, and this is at the point where I just gotten through Radiant Dawn, and I also didn't use Jill, which turned out to be a really bad mistake. Oh, I'm looking forward to fixing that one in Radiant Dawn. Oh man, she was real good. But anyway, I completely lost track of what I was going to say. Oh, okay. First and foremost, for those of you that didn't watch the previous part, my strategy for this is sending both of my Cavalier units, both Oscar and Astrid, up this main area right here. They're going to take out these 3, technically 4, because of the healer, enemies. They're going to grab what's in that house, or Oscar will later on. And they're going to be luring those Wyvern Knights down towards them and taking them out and making sure they can't fly away. Because they have Canto, they can easily just, you know, fly down, attack, and then fly away. But if I keep them pretty far away, then that will force them to fly really far, and they won't be able to fly away as easily. So that's the strategy for that. Right here I was just using up an attack, just because I could, I guess. Showing off Meteor's range and power of destruction. It can actually get a ×2 if you've got an enemy that's slow enough. I don't think I actually got to show it off here. In the run that I died, there was actually a guy I got to use it on twice. It was one of the Wyvern Knights, and I got him with it. But I think I got Adept here, did I? Maybe I did. I wasn't paying attention to the screen. No, I did not. Okay. Maybe I used it at a different time and got it there. I'm not sure. I also forgot to turn off Ike's battle animation, so I'll be doing it after this fight right here. If you can't already tell, this is post-commentated. Reason being is the audio both in quality of me actually talking and having nothing to say was bad, and then just the actual audio quality was bad, because apparently the USB for my mic wasn't plugged in all the way, and that tends to screw up audio recordings. Who'd have thought, right? Yeah, should pay attention to that before I got started, but the commentary is pretty bad anyway. So, last episode was, you know, all the stuff you saw with the combo and whatnot. It was me talking about why I hadn't been updating recently, etc. If you want to hear about that and don't want to watch that video, I understand, because the convoy is not all that fun, but some people actually wanted me to keep it in, surprisingly, and so I've been keeping it in. But if you want to watch that, there's an update video on my channel. If you're watching this at the time of it being posted, it's relatively recent, so you should be able to find it, no problem. So, the strategy is pretty much just send those 3 horseback units up there and let them deal with everything that comes to them. Everybody else is going to head down the lower path. Now, as I mentioned in the last recording again, the first time that I did this fight and died, or Soren died, I tried to send a couple of units just straight to the right on my first turn. Might have been my second turn. It's one of those two. If you do that, the Wyvern Knights are probably going to fly down and kill any unit that they perceive to be weak, and Soren is not very good in the defense department, and so he got killed. So, I recommend not doing that. If you're going to split up your forces, you need to make a decision if that unit is going up or down pretty much immediately, if not leaving them on the starting area so the Wyverns can't get to them on the first turn. One of those two. Now, the big thing with this map, and the reason that I've been trying to get the Jill and Lee support to A, once again not knowing that I couldn't get it to A until after this chapter, dumb, is that in this fight, if Jill talks to her father, she has the ability, this is the first time in Fire Emblem history, at least, you know, like, if you're going by what year the game was made, this is the first time in Fire Emblem history where a unit can actually defect back to the enemy's side. That is right, Jill can actually talk to Shirhim, and it will defect back to the enemy's side. Now, a couple things to make note of here, and I didn't realize it in the video and tried to do my research, which was a dumb idea. I should have, you know, there's another reason I post-commentated this, is, and I might be entirely wrong on this, and if I am, then feel free to correct me in the comments, because more than likely I'm wrong. I saw a lot of mixed results on this. Could not find a clear answer, definite answer, and a high majority answer. If Jill has a B support or higher with any character, so Ike, Leaf, Mist, etc., I could pull up that list right now. I might do that in a minute. If she has a B support with anybody or higher, then Shirhim does not have the ability to make her defect back to the Daein side. It will not be there. I've also seen, and once again this kind of contradicts the statement that I just made, if he does talk to Jill, and you have an A support with Mist, then if Jill defects back, then you can talk to her with Mist, and she will come back to your side again. And alternatively, I've also seen if that conversation happens and you've got an A support with Mist, she will mention in the conversation she's found a reason to stay with the Crimean army and fight for them, and so she will not defect. What ended up happening in this video is I tried to get Shirhim to talk to her, no dice. So that's actually what happened, but what I was trying to do, and, you know, I've been aloof with this for a while now, what I was trying to do was to get Jill and Leith to get to an A support, talk to Shirhim with Jill and have her defect over back to Daein's side, and then talk to her again with Leaf to have her come back. So I think it would have been kind of cool to show off. Unfortunately, it was just not in the cards to show off for whatever reason, bad luck, whatever you want to call it. I tried, I did my best, just it wasn't going to happen. So I do apologize, kind of a shame, but what are you going to do, right? So as you can see from that conversation, that will always occur after the end of your first turn. Shirhim has asked Har to flee. I think he mentions also with Har's actual, you know, set of units. I'm assuming he's like, you know, at least a sergeant and not a private, but, you know, who knows how Fire Emblem military works. It might work the exact same, might not. It's a video game, who knows. Also, good job with the critical hit Mia there, and another one for good measure. Still wasn't enough to get that guy out, but it was kind of cool. So, Har will not be fighting in this battle. You will not have to worry about him. He is taking his troops and running because Shirhim knows that one of these two sides is going to fall, and he also knows that very likely it is going to be his side, so. I feel like this chapter in particular is another good one not only because of the map and how it looks, even though I don't like snow, I still think this map is really cool, it also highlights a really important aspect that a lot of people, especially now, it seems like, tend to forget about war, and hopefully this will not spark controversy in the comments, but I don't think I'm wrong here for once. Just because you're fighting an enemy, and this also goes, I believe they mentioned this when you can start recruiting characters, just because you're fighting another country does not make every single person in that country a bad person. Which, you know, that kind of goes, once again, showing, like, you can recruit people here, because, you know, I think the first recruitment from an enemy was Ileana, and, you know, Ileana was not against it, she kind of got roped into doing this, and, you know, that's the same thing also with civilians, like, some of these people, they just want to live their own lives, you know. Sure, they don't want Dayan to lose the war, because that, you know, they know that puts them in trouble, but they don't want to, you know, get slaughtered or have to go out and fight anyway, so... Not everybody on the opposing side of the battlefield is always out to get you. There are some people that are for the war, some people don't care, and then some people, you know, they don't want to be involved in it, and some people are actually against it, even if they are what seems like your enemy. They're not, so... I feel like this episode, or this chapter does a really, really good job of highlighting that, because Shirahim really, in the, like, you can tell in the bottom of his heart, he wants what's best for Dayan, and he wants what's best for the people that are in this town, the people that are finally starting to accept him after all these years. And he's having to follow orders from his superior, knowing that A, it will not stop the army if they get through, not for forever at least, it's just a time stellar, and B, that it's destroying a lot of the land around them, and that's, you know, that will mess up crops whenever they'll be able to start planting again, it's going to get villagers angry, it'll mess up trade routes, you know, it can do a lot of different stuff just from that one little issue, and so... You know, he's got to follow the order of his superiors, even though he doesn't want to. He, at heart, wants what's best for these people, so... Getting away from, like, the deep philosophical points of this game, I still feel like it's a very good chapter. Like, that is an important point to bring up about war, is not everybody's against you, and, you know... I like the concept of the honorable soldier that knows he's likely going to die in battle, and is doing it for his country, not the corrupt leaders, and honestly wants what's best for the country, not for the corrupt leaders. But, you know, he still follows his orders through and through to the end. There's, you know... I mean, that's... You know, I have a lot of respect for somebody who can do something like that, because you know that that cannot be an easy thing to do. That's got to be really hard. Especially after, you know, like... Imagine if you've got adoptive parents who took you in, and then all of a sudden... You know, you somehow get taken away, or you've got, you know, somebody that takes you in, that cares about you, you know, respects you, loves you, and then you've got to turn around and, you know, ruin a part of their life, or maybe even their entire life, and you don't want to do this, but there's another reason that you have to do it. And it's, you know, because of your superiors and etc. And, you know, he's got to not just think only about himself, but he's also got to think about all his, you know, all the people that are under him as well, in his brigade, battalion, whatever. Because, as they mentioned, or that one soldier mentions, you know, even if they know what they're doing is wrong, if they oppose Dayan for it, you know, they very well might be executed. And even if that doesn't stop them and they still don't care, that also puts their families at risk, you know, innocent people, most of which I'm assuming are innocent people, you know, their kids, their parents, their siblings, whatever, you know, puts them at risk too, so that's got to be a really hard thing to do, to consciously make that decision. So anyway, getting away from the deep philosophical aspects of this game, I apologize, I don't know why I got so serious right there. Apparently 5 o'clock in the morning is just a good time for me to get really serious. Which, that'll give you an idea, depending on if you watched the last episode or not, how much cutting I have or haven't been doing. I've already made one cut. The rest of it's just raw recording. We're kind of working it out. If you're getting cuts where you can tell there's a cut, that's why. I think it was already shown in this video. I mentioned it last video. I might have again in this one. I'm not 100% certain. I did die once, and it was because I was stupid with Soren and put him out in a spot. I thought he was safe, and the Wyvernettes got him because, you know, they've got ridiculous movement. So I did die on this map once. Not ashamed to admit it. I haven't died a lot in this game, like, you know, haven't actually reset, but yeah, I did screw up there. It was my own fault. I have nobody to blame but myself, and, you know, that's just how it is. It happens. Either way, we've gotten through a decent amount of this area. The lower half is definitely the easier part. You know, there's a couple enemies here and there. There's even some promoted ones, but they're not going to put up much of a fight. To be perfectly honest with you, I feel like even with their promoted status, it seems like these people used a Master Seal at level 10, and as a result did not get some of the level ups they really, really could have used. Like, 10 levels, if you get even decent levels for half of those, that's enough stats to make a difference. Very much enough to make a difference. So, yeah, that's one of the big things about Fire Emblem, is like, just because you can level up at level 10 does not mean you should. You should wait until you're maxed and then level up. Which, you know, nowadays, when you've got Fire Emblem Fates is coming out really soon, you've got Fire Emblem Awakening, you can kind of cheese your way around that. You can get max stats and everything if you play it right and you get the right, you know, you get hidden shops and all that junk. But back in the day, back in 2005, I was only 10 years old when this game came out. Man, I'm so old. Back in the day, if a character got bad levels, you very well might have to trash him. And, you know, it just happens sometimes. Unless it's Ike, then you can't, because, you know, the game hates you. But, you know, you were stuck with whatever levels you got. You had stat boosting stuff, like the Ashera icons, you know, etc. But those can only get you so far. There's not an infinite amount of those to just go around. You can't buy 99 of them or anything like that. So, you know, you can only go so far with your levels. There's only so much of that extra stuff to spread around, right? You're not going to find, like, a treasure chest with 30 Draco shields in it. That'd be cool, but this is not Pokemon XD. They're not that, you know, forgiving with their items. Right here we have a Light Spell Soldier. Those are pretty common for the day in RB. They're not much of a threat. They've got pretty good accuracy, but aside from that, they're pretty much throwaways. You can pretty much just kill them in 1 or 2 hits. They should not be surviving it. If you attack them with any unit, they're not going to survive through that round. There's no way. Regardless, take the Shine Spell. Even if you're not using Reese, you can always sell it. You know, free money, might as well take it, right? And this isn't like early game. If you don't have the slots for it, you can just throw it right in the convoy immediately. You're not forced to discard it. You filthy Crimean, get out now. There's nothing in this shack that would make you happy. Oh, so you won't leave till you get something, is that? Here, take this old staff. Now hit the road. You've no need to steal anything else from us, or you take my life as well. In that last skirmish, my boy, my only son, you stole his life. Curse you. And he gives you rescue. This is a rather bizarre staff. For anybody that's played Radiant Dawn, the bridge level, and you know which one I'm talking about, the enemy likes this one a lot. I'm not a big fan, to be honest. Basically what it does is, if there's an enemy, or if there's an ally that you have that is very close to dying, and you can very well tell they're close to dying, you can use the rescue staff on them, and it will take them away from their current location and place it with, it will place that unit within a 1 tile radius of the person who used the spell. So, let's say Mist used it on Leith right now. Leith would teleport away, and either 1 space above, 1 space to the left, 1 space to the right, or 1 space below where Mist is. So, it gets them away from the battle, is basically what it does. I'm not a big fan of that one. I would prefer just using a physics staff and just healing them where they are. And by extension, if they're still in trouble, which hopefully they're not, from getting a heal from a relatively powerful magic user at that point, you can always have them use a Vulnerary on top of that, and that's another 10 HP. And by that point, they're probably at full. If they're not, they're pretty close. So, not really a big fan of Rescue. Sorry. I might find use for it, but I'm willing to bet no. That guy has a heal staff, but who cares about him? You'll notice the mages will start carrying around heal staffs now. And they sometimes will use them. I usually try to knock out an enemy in the turn that I have. I usually don't try to leave enemies with half health whenever their turn starts, because as you've clearly seen if you've been watching LP, they have a bad habit of waiting for a healer to heal them, or running away to a healer, or running away and using a vulnerary, anything like that. From that house we picked up Smite. Once again, not very useful skill. It basically doubles the effect of your shove command. So instead of moving you 2 spaces, or instead of moving you 1 space when you use the shove command, it will move you 2. Remember once again that flying units, horseback units, anything like that cannot use this skill. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like using shove. There's very, very few instances where it's useful. There's one chapter that will actually come in handy. It's coming up relatively soon, but you don't need Smite for it. Shove will do fine. There's Meteor. We get a Provoke from that guy. case you don't remember, and it won't show it here because it will just say, "Is this an item that you can use to get a provoke when you're at a base?" And you're like, "No, I want to know what it does, dude. I don't want to know that it is an item. I want to know what the item does." But yeah, provoke basically. If you haven't seen it already, Shin had this, the sniper that we had near the start of the game that we re-recruited. He has this, and what it does is it's supposed to provoke, unsurprisingly, the enemies into attacking whatever person has that equipped before others. It doesn't always work though, and by extension, the opposite version of that, Shade, which reduces the chance of the enemy attacking whatever unit it's placed on, does not always work as well. So do I recommend it? Not really. It seems to work a little better in Radiant Dawn, and it's still on Shinin, who's got excellent dodging ability in that game. So Shinin's very good in Radiant Dawn. I would highly recommend him, but he'll dodge stuff like nobody's business, so it's fine when it's on him there, but not really a fan. Plus, putting it on an archer's kind of weird. I would think you'd put it on like a knight, a cavalier, some with pretty decent defense, and just an all-rounder or high defense. I'd say probably more so a cavalier because of better movement and much better all-rounder than a knight would be, because a knight would be in trouble if they got surrounded by mages. Cavalier might be able to fight their way out of it. Maybe a dragon rider, but that might be pushing it. So I'd say probably cavalier if you were going to use it on somebody. So Oscar, Astrid, if you're using him, Kieran, if you're using her, Titania. Those are the ones that are coming to immediate mind. So nice! Get him out of here. And take a level while you're at it. Why not? Just go crazy. Yes, this is pretty good level. I believe her speed stops at 29 or 30. I don't know. You'd think 30, but sometimes these stats don't stop on an even number. It's kind of weird. But her speed's pretty close to being max, so she'll be doubling pretty much everything from this point out. I don't know why that guy did what he did. Like, he screwed himself so bad when he attacked with that ranged weapon. And it's probably because he could just barely reach, and I doubt he knew that that steel bow was out of uses, but that was really stupid of him to do that. Regardless, you're going to see me kind of flirting around with the end of this level. It's really stupid, me trying to get that conversation between Jill and her father and trying to get him to have her defect, but it doesn't work, as we've already as I've already mentioned. Very mixed results, and once again, if you know in the comments why, like the exact amount, then feel free to tell me, because, like I said, I did a pretty good amount of research online, and I was getting very, very mixed results. So, I honestly don't know what to tell you. I wish I had a good idea of what it was, but I really don't. So, sometimes that just happens. You know, games don't, even games that have been around a while, don't have a lot of research in them like they should. I mean, look at Dokapon Kingdom, for crying out loud. If you watch the Runaway guys play that, you know full well there's not a lot of research on the game. If you've done any research, there's not near as much as what you think there'd be. But it's a lot more popular in Japan than the US. There's like several Dokapon games out in Japan, but of course they get all the good stuff. We get most of it, we can't complain, right? Very nice. Hit him again with a critical. Oh, that only had one use on it. That's probably why I did it, so I could, replace the steel sword with another weapon on the next chapter. That's probably why I did that. Him, I had the Armor Slayer and completely forgot about it. And it was like, oh, okay, he can take care of this. Because I was like, I don't want to move Jill over there. I don't want to deal with her with Ike. And then I was like, oh, he's got an Armor Slayer. Cool, I can just do this. That actually works out quite well. I think here I was just trying to get Ether work. No dice. That's another problem I have with Ether. The skill in this game, to be specific, is Ike. You're probably throwing it onto Ike the second he class changes into Lord, and I don't know what the percentage is for him getting it each time, but whenever he's first promoted to Lord unit, he almost never gets it. I know it's based on your stats, and so as you upgrade, the odds of it happening are more likely, but you almost never see it. Until he's about level 10 or higher. Then you'll start seeing it a pretty decent amount, every 4 or 5 tags, but you will almost never see it. You might see it once per map before then. I don't know why it's such a big difference for just even those few levels, but apparently it is, so... whatever, I guess. I think at this point I just said, screw it, let's get rid of this mage up here. Just don't want to deal with his crap, man. Just get him out of here. He can't even counter because he's got a long-range spell equipped on him right now, so he's out. That guy on the bottom of the two main, yeah, he has Bolognan. I think, yeah, this guy's Elfire. They got heal stats, but who cares? But anyway, moving on, so you guys can actually hear something besides how this is playing out, because, like I mentioned, post-commentating, I've got an hour and 18 minutes of recording. If you're watching the last episode, like I said, I cut out a little part of that. And I'm about at 59 minutes as of right now, exactly. So, I've still got about 19 minutes of conversation to make here, so... in the realm of the real world, what I've been doing since waiting for my computer to get back and other different stuff like that, actually, believe it or not, I had not played this series before. I ended up going out and buying my first Animal Crossing game. I ended up buying New Leaf, because I'd heard a lot of good stuff about New Leaf. I haven't been playing it a lot recently. I've kind of left it on hold for probably about 5 days, which, for anybody that's a huge, like, hardcore fan, they're like, no, how could you? But I actually did enjoy it quite a bit. It was a very good time killer. But, if you need a good time killer game, you know, just something you can check every few hours, but you don't want to be, like, constantly playing it, I'd say Animal Crossing is a good choice. It takes a little while to get going. Like, you know, you have to upgrade your stuff, and to do that you have to make money, and making money is not difficult, but it is relatively time-consuming. The easiest way to do it is just come back every day and sell the stuff that appeared overnight. And that's, you know, one of the fastest ways to do it. It's not the fastest. I know there's better ones out there, but by default, that's a pretty good way to do it, starting out. And, so... It took a little while to get going, but I did enjoy it. I had plenty of time to work on it since I didn't have my computer for like a month. So I played that a lot. I got a pretty good ways into it. I'm working on getting the museum upgraded for anybody that cares about New Leaf. I've gotten the club open. I've gotten the flower shop open. I believe the Nook stores, not the housing one, but the other one, it's like on the 3rd tier or something like that. It's past the Mart. It's the one after that. So it's like on the 3rd or 4th tier there. I've got the main room of my house completely maxed out. I've got the downstairs, I've got the basement area, it's not maxed at all, it's just on the first one. I've got the attic, and it's on the 2nd to last tier of that, and the other stuff I don't have. House is pretty cleaned up, got a lot of good wallpapers. That's pretty much all that's super important. I couldn't tell you offhand who I have in my village. I know Harry moved away, which is good, because he was obnoxious. Didn't like him. I have Coach, I have Gale, I have Hazel, who I would like to leave my village, because, I'll be honest, the unibrows kind of creep me out, and the fact he says uni-wow, and is, like, actively showing off that he enjoys his unibrow is also kind of creepy. I've got Agnes and Spork, I like both of them. Pretty much the only person I don't like in my current village is Hazel. I feel like there's somebody else that I'm not remembering, but offhand, it's just not coming to me. But, yeah. Gale's probably my favorite. I don't know. I like alligators. I'm weird. Aside from that, didn't finish it. I might go back to it at some point. Was getting slightly prepared for the HD release of Twilight Princess. I don't even know if it's out yet or not. I apologize. I don't feel there's a need to get it, to be perfectly honest. Like, there's some cool new stuff. I'm sure the extra dungeon's pretty awesome. There's some cool new features, but it's not enough for me to shell out that much money to buy it. I'm sorry. And to be honest, like, HD or not, the original Twilight Princess, the graphics on it were very, very nice. I have no problem with the graphics whatsoever. The only thing I didn't like about, really, the graphics style, really, was... I felt like there wasn't enough color in the overworld, but maybe that's because I'm used to Majora's Mask, where you've got really crazy psychedelic stuff like the beavers, you know, you've got the observatory that's got like all those different colors painted on the staircases. You know, Majora's Mask just had a lot of color into it like that. That was one of the things I had an issue with. But I enjoyed it a lot more playing through. I played all the way from the start up to Arbiter's Grounds. I just got into the dungeon for Arbiter's Grounds, and then I decided for the night, I'm like, no, I'm gonna put this down. It's already like 3 in the morning, I gotta be up in 4 hours, and, you know, I'm not gonna try to do this dungeon while I'm like 3/4 asleep, so, and then I never ended up going back to it, but I've beaten the game before, so I know what to expect. I do like Arbiter's Grounds. Really the only temple I'm not any good with is City in the Sky, which, big surprise there. For anybody that's played that game, I would pretty much say everybody agrees that City in the Sky is one of the hardest temples in Twilight Princess, if not the hardest. Aside from that, I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Funny story about it, actually. I have a couple of different games. I have Sacred Cards, I have Chef of Destruction, those are like the GBA ones. I have Falsebound Kingdom, believe it or not, which is not your classical Yu-Gi-Oh! Game at all. But what I was looking for was Yu-Gi-Oh! GX 2008 Championship Edition. I don't even remember where I got it. It might have been gifted to me by a friend at some point for like my birthday. But at some point, I ended up having the game. And so, I keep a lot of my games on my headboard, you know, so I can just reach up, grab them, you know, put my DS or 3DS and start playing. So I was looking for the game around my headboard area, and for the record, my room is an absolute mess. It's getting better, I'm working on it, but it's a mess. And so I ended up cleaning that entire headboard area and all around my bed, trying to find this game, and did not find it. Just across from my bed, it's, looking at it right now, it's not 6 feet away from my bed. Like, not even. Or 6 paces, whatever you're going to call it. My game shelf is on the top row. My bookshelf, there's no actual book stored on here, but my top row is like where I keep all my games. All my Wii stuff, my GameCube stuff, DS, 3DS, everything that can fit on there, and then what doesn't ends up going where my headboard is. And so I start going through my cases for 3DS games and DS games. And it's not till I get to almost the bottom of the pile, it's like 4th from the last one, I pick up the box for the game that I've been looking for the better part of an hour and a half, and I went, I wonder what the odds are. I actually said this out loud to nobody. I wonder what the odds are that I actually left this in the case and put it back where it was supposed to be. Open it up, and yeah, sure enough, it was in there. So stupid. And that is the most roundabout way to find something, and just, that is not the way a 20-year-old should be cleaning their room, going, I should clean my room because it's a mess. It's like, no, I'm cleaning my room so I can find that video game that I lost. Yikes. Nice, one hit, too. Beautiful. So I've been playing that a lot recently. For anybody that's actually played that one, I really doubt that's the case. It's before synchros got stupid and ruined the game, essentially. But, for those of you who have played it, basically, whenever you go into the dual world, not the championship area, there's 5 different worlds, and I'm currently on 4. I'm still actually playing that one. I'm currently on 4 of 5. And getting it destroyed. And the reason for that is because starting in World 4, you have to have an AI partner because all the battles are 2-on-2. And as you can expect, the AI is stupid. Anyway, here, Father, we meet as enemies. There are no pleasantries to exchange. Ready your weapons, soldier of Crimea. You won't charge? Then I will bring the fight to you. Poke. So yeah, I try to get it to work there, no dice. But as you can expect, working with an AI partner is not easy. They will use up your cards that you were trying to save. They will sacrifice, and this did happen, a monster with 3,000 defense in order to summon a monster with 1,900 attack, and then that monster got killed by a trap hole that we knew was on the field. Because a card that I had revealed all the face-down cards, and then they did that anyway. So not only did they get rid of a defense that clearly was not going anywhere for those that played Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, like, attack versus defense-wise, it takes a lot to get through a monster with 3,000 defense points. So, they used up my defense, and by extension their defense, because we share the same board. Summoned a monster that got destroyed immediately and left us vulnerable. I've probably played about 35 2v2 matches in that world. We've won 3. And I am not making this up. Every single time that we have been attacked, the person on my team that was controlling the board was the AI. I have not gotten hit a single time in the entire world yet, which is, World 4 is the World of Darkness. Not gotten hit a single time yet, and yet I've lost almost every single match. And if I go back to, like, the 1v1 fights, no problem, none. You know, no difficulty at all. So what I'm doing right now is trying to build up my points, trying to recruit more tag partners, and finding just one type of deck that's really good, and then with all the points I've accumulated, basically build a new deck that works really well with theirs and try to get them that way. That seems to be the only possible way to get any leverage whatsoever. Right here, I believe I was doing my research, so there will probably be a cut here, and whenever I'm done looking at whatever I'm looking at, then, you know, we'll go back to the fight and kill the boss, basically. So, be right back. Alright, so apparently I finally snapped on my senses here in-game. So, there's a little bit of cut. You guys didn't say anything, but there was probably about a 2-minute period where I just was busy trying to research what to do here, and this is the point where I'm talking about what I found. Aside from that, there was something else I was going to mention, and it completely slipped my mind. That's going to bug me. Shoot. It didn't have anything to do with a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It was something completely different. And now I'm not going to remember it. That's absolutely fantastic. Good job, me. Oh, right. And the other game that I've been playing again recently was Mario Kart 8. What I ended up deciding to do for that as a project is likely what I'm going to do. And this is still up in the air. You guys can let me know what you think. I might just do a completely different video on it, but you can let me know here as well. I did start working on that LP, like, pretty much when the game came out. Based on how the unlockables work, which is, like, every 100 coins you get a new part, there's some other, you know, different things here and there you can do to unlock stamps and whatnot. What I will probably do, if I can get the other capture card, you know, back in working order and start working on it again, I will probably unlock everything, because I've already, since I've been playing it, I've been unlocking stuff anyway. And I've already got one of the gold parts unlocked from doing all the time trials, because I like doing that, because I'm weird. I will probably unlock everything, and, like, you know, getting all gold trophies and everything, maybe not 3 stars on all of them, because that, you know, it's pretty hard to do that on some of the later ones, just based on how the game works. But I will probably, like, show off, not all the engine classes and all the cups. I'll probably show, like, a few races in 50, a few more than I did for 100, and then more from that in 150, and even more in 200, but I'll probably be primarily focusing on the 150s. And maybe I'll do some races alone, do some races with friends, you know, do some battles. Heck, I might even do, like, at some point, I would like to try doing a stream, because that seems to kind of be the modern thing nowadays. It seems like LPs are starting to kind of fall from the popularity that they had once before, and now streams are tending to be the more common thing. And I guess it's because you can actually talk with whoever's, you know, with whoever's streaming, and so you can get not an immediate response, but, you know, relatively soon. You know, because it's kind of cool that, at least from what I've experienced, you know, streaming, and I've been at a stream with Tom Fox and gotten an actual response from him. I've gotten a response from Proton John, you know, so on and so forth. It's kind of cool to be able to talk with somebody that does LPs, and, you know, I'm not tooting my own horn here. I'm talking about, like, the really big people and getting them to actually respond back to you. But, I don't know, for some people, you might actually think it's pretty cool to get a response back from me, you know, relatively soon. So, who knows, you know, I might think about trying to do that in the future. I would like to be able to do it, but, you know, who knows. Alright, the rest is up to you. Jill, you murdered me. That's totally what he sounds like. Sounds like he really has to go. And yeah, I'm just going to put the tomahawk on. Jill actually can use, I checked right here, she does get the ability to use axes, or, yeah, axes after she class changes, which is funny because in the sequel of this game, axes are her primary weapon. So the first time I played, I went with Radiant Dawn, and then I came back to play this one, and some of the characters that were in Radiant Dawn didn't have the same weapon types, like Braum did not have lances for his primary weapon in Radiant Dawn. He had axes, and so when I never saw he had lances, I was like, lances? What the heck are you doing with lances, Braum? You weirdo? What's the damage to the surrounding area? It's terrible. All the fields and homes have been completely destroyed. I don't think this is what the enemy general wanted either. Yeah, that was quite clear. So why'd this have to happen? Will this war never end? Well, we're like at the 2/3 mark of the game. Maybe not quite 2/3, more like 60%, because, you know, the later stages are longer. Our opponent is the Dane army. We've no quarrel with these people. I can know how you feel for these people, but this is war. I don't know what it'll accomplish, but moving on without doing anything is something I can't do. And then Soren's like, idiocy, and he throws his hands up in the air sometimes. He wouldn't actually do that, though. He would probably just, like, sigh and just slowly shake his head in disapproval. And then, of course, Jill is mourning the loss of her father. He was a good man, Jill. He was a good man. Maybe we'll be seeing him at some point later in the project. A little bit of a hint to the extra mode, if you will, which I'm willing to bet most people have probably not touched it, but there's some cool features in it. I'm going to show it off. Even if you guys are sick and tired of it, there's one thing to note that's actually really cool in the extras features, so either way. General Sheriam is dead and our homes are gone. What are we to do with our families? Just stare for a minute. What do you want to do? General Sheriam was slain by Crimea. Joining with him now is not possible. So he's talking about where else you could go. It's either Crimea or Benyon, so that pretty much just leaves Benyon. I doubt you get a hero's welcome, but I've got an old friend in the Pegasus Knights. Shall I contact her? 18 long years. What does any of that mean now? No matter what, he's proud to have served under that general. General, okay. Well, now we know. He wasn't a sergeant, he was a general. I guess it makes sense since he was leading that entire set, but, you know, I was looking for something above private, which is the lowest class. So. I'm trying the best I can. I don't play Call of Duty. I actually do own 2 Call of Duty games, but one was gifted to me and the other was $3, and I felt like playing a shooter game and didn't really have anything at the time, because this is before I played shooter games that were, you know, actually as a whole considered to be very good, like BioShock Infinite, for example. I did enjoy Infinite quite a bit, actually. I can't get 1 to work on my Steam, though. It sucks. And 2, I don't care for. Even if your character's name is Delta. I've watched somebody play through 2, and then I watched an LPer play through 2. I've seen what I needed to see with 2. I'm good. I want to play 1, and I love Infinite to death. I got all the achievements in Infinite on Steam, but I'm good with 2. I'll pass. So it appears Ina is the one that will be defending the capital, and the Black Knight and Patrine, 2 of the 4 riders, are talking about the worm. So it appears that somebody in our group, in fact, did steal the medallion and brought it over to Dan. Oh, the Black... Who knows what the Black Knight's gonna do, man? He's just going all around over the place, being weird. Where's Lauren's medallion? Right here. Take it, please. It feels so heavy, and it's not all the wrapping, either. Could this be the chaotic energy of an evil god? So now you can return to King Astronaut's side, can you not? No, not yet. What do you mean? I've been entrusted with the defense of the capital. I must face the Crimean army. No! Thank you. You've done so much for me. But now it's enough. Please, reclaim your freedom. There's no need for you to follow Dan's orders any longer. And you? Do you mean to die? No, I cannot retreat. Even if I have to slaughter the entire Crimean army, I will return to him. Yet he thinks nothing of you. That matters not. The only place I belong is at his side. I will likely never see you again. I will pray for your eternal happiness. Ina, wait! Forget about me. That is my final request. Farewell, Nasir. So it turns out we have found our true traitor all along. And I believe Soren already mentioned it, but yes, it was in fact Nasir, the person that helped us escape Crimea on the boat, and he has been the worm ever since then. So, we'll find out more about that, and hopefully figure out quite a number of things as we march on towards Dane Capital. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Pitmarthroy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later. I apologize also for the post-commentary. Hopefully I will do better with commentary on Path of Radiance next time, because I did not do a very good job here. Later.